And we're live. Welcome to Josh and Aaron Talk About Stuff. I'm Josh,
And I am Aaron.
in case you don't know who we are. So this week's episodes are going to revolve around the 80s hair metal, glam metal
Woohoo!
phase of music. But before we begin, I mean, I've been diving deep into listening to all these 80s. So is my mic working?
Yeah, you're working. Yeah, you glitched there for a second, but you're rolling.
I listened to Zero several times of the Smashing Pumpkins so I can cleanse my palate because
Cleanse your palate.
the rabbit hole is deep.
Yeah, once you're down that rabbit hole, man, it is a really, really freaking deep rabbit hole.
Listening to the 80s and stuff. All right, so let's start with like I would say like the foundation of where this kind of like all started.
Sure.
In my view, the foundation to what became 80s glam metal, heavy metal, that era was like Led Zeppelin. They were kind of like a foundation of long hair, rock,
Queen
live stadium shows. I wouldn't put them with like hair metal.
You don't think so?
They were.
I mean,
They
Freddie
were
Mercury's about as
everything.
glam as you can get,
Well,
you know?
yeah, but he wasn't like.
I see what you're saying, though.
There was more
It's like,
substance to Queen.
yeah.
Cherry pie. Tastes so good, make a grown man cry. Side note, I was watching that video today, and it just makes me laugh because
it is so bad.
absurd. It's so absurd.
But according to them, they knew it was bad, and they were like trying to make like, really? Did you really? Is that really what you were going for? Were you going for self-referential humor there? Because there's a part of me that really doubts it.
Like watching these videos, it's just like, oh, it was awful. Anyway, so I think
So anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
And like Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, and maybe Black Sabbath were like a foundation of what hard rock.
I think you're definitely right. Yeah, I think it kind of that's where it stems from.
I think a little later would be Van Halen, but then they kind of went the glam route with Jump.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, it's like, but I think you're right. I mean, those are like the foundationary bands for like the 80s glam is, Zepp and I love Zepp. I mean, but that's and I'm not a big Sabbath guy, but I get people love Sabbath, but that is definitely the building block for then where we get to in the 80s, and all of a sudden here's Motley Crue, right? Here's Poison.
I mean, side note, full disclosure, I like Motley Crue, and I like Poison. So, but whatever. All right, so like,
that's cool.
You got this foundation of like what hard rock is turning into, and these like big stadiums, and then it morphs into like growing hair for a reason. Like Led Zeppelin just grew their hair out because they didn't care.
They didn't care.
This is how they were, right?
Yeah.
But like I was looking up like like I think like the big four of the 80s bands would be Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, and maybe like that the fourth. I'm not really sure.
I don't know if there's a fourth. Those are the big three, no doubt. I mean, that's like those three are like the three. Like if you said to me hair bands, I mean the first two that pop into my head honestly are Motley Crue and Poison. Just
right,
and then
they were huge.
They were massive, right?
Hair metal light would be like Bon Jovi because they were pretty huge, but they weren't.
And I was
that edge to it. In my
opinion. And you mentioned it. You mentioned them earlier. Where do you put Van Halen? I mean, is Van Halen a hair band? Because honestly, by the time they got David Lee Roth up there singing, and they were doing like California Girls or whatever, and Hot for Teacher, I mean, that's pretty much quintessential hair metal stuff going on.
I think they started out obviously more in the hard rock realm.
Mm-hmm. So what differentiates it then between that hard rock realm and because obviously we've talked before, like Metallica was actually playing about this time. They were started. I'm trying to think of like
1983 was their first album.
Okay, so clearly Metallica is not a hair band. I mean, that's Metallica,
right? And they grew their hair because why cut our hair? It wasn't like it wasn't. But the glam guys, they did all their hair up. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, the difference, honestly, between like Master of Puppets and Cherry Pie. I mean, it's like the difference is massive.
Right. I think. So what was the question? Like what?
What's the differentiation then? Well, because like you got Metallica, who's they're not a hair band, but they were definitely a hard rock band at the time. Yep. Like they were a metal band, right? I mean,
I think there's like a slapstick kind of like for like Cherry Pie.
Right.
Okay.
Dr. Feelgood.
Well, look, all right, hold on. Let's put Motley Crue for aside because I can
All right.
defend them.
Okay.
So like I just picking Warrant here because I happened to watch
You're
that
picking on
video
Warrant.
today, and like I didn't know that like that song "Heaven Is So Far Away" or whatever that Heaven, whatever that song is. That was a pretty big hit.
I played it after you mentioned it, and I'm like, I don't even remember this thing.
I know, but it was but when you heard the song, did you recognize it?
No,
Heaven's Not Too Far Away.
I didn't
Oh,
know.
I did.
didn't
I
play
have. Anyway, all right. So let's.
No, but that's cool. But and that's a whole other thing with these hair bands is the ballads.
The power ballad is a key component.
It's absolutely. A rose has its thorn.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's the
Okay,
ultimate one.
So
right?
like, okay, so if we're comparing like Master of Puppets to Cherry Pie, so Cherry Pie is like obviously it's about sex.
Right? What?
And
Really?
It's really out there, and it's like got a.
No kidding.
It's got like a. It's like a shtick. Like it's a.
Yeah, it's almost artificial.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, there's a fun quality to the song.
Absolutely.
And like. I mean, watch the video, folks. It's just I couldn't stop laughing. It's so absurd. It's just like.
But it's interesting that you say that it's about fun. And I was watching the thing about here's our daily reference to grunge music. I was watching the thing where they were talking to, I think it was it talking to one of the guys from Poison, or it was either Poison or Crue. They were talking to one of the two guys from I don't know, but they were talking to one of them. They're like, asked him what he thought about grunge. He's like, I didn't like it. I still don't like it. Why? Because it's not fun. He's like, we were out to have fun.
Right.
And that's what he said. He says we were there to sing about drugs and drinking and
girls.
shit.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to sing about.
We'll get to the misery in a few weeks when we talk about night.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, but
yeah.
I guess my point is, I think you're right, and I think they even they would say that it was about having fun. And Metallica's clearly, I mean, there's like a dark. I mean, that's like such a there's just. I mean, it's dark. Yeah. You get like Master of Puppets 1. That is some dark, heavy stuff.
Yep.
Thematically.
Yep.
Not just and also sonically, it's just darker. But I will say this, like sonically, like the guys in these hair bands, these glam bands, they were talented musicians. Like they could play, they had chops. You know what I mean? Like they could play. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like they had skill.
Mm-hmm.
They could sing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, like your power chords.
Yeah.
You got to throw in your power ballad, and it's just like anything I can do to get more girls to come to the show.
Well, Kiss.
But like, and you got to have like, I don't really like Kiss, but I mean, I think they're the best at marketing ever. Lunchboxes, pinball machines, everything. I mean, they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but there's a few songs I do like, but I don't know. I think a lot of the bands in the 70s, which Kiss came from the 70s and Aerosmith.
That's right, they did, didn't they? Like Aerosmith.
There was a big shift in like most bands in the 70s when they went into the 80s to stay relevant. They like 80-erized their music.
You mentioned that before, and I think you're right.
I think Kiss did that a little bit, but like, I was looking at these names. I got a list of names here. Night Ranger.
I remember that. Yeah.
Sister Christian. Oh my god! Yeah. These names. Of course, then there you got White Snake. That'd be good. Winger. Slaughter. Cinderella. Wasp. Twisted Sister. I don't like them either.
Twisted Sister.
And you got the Scorpions. These are pretty big bands. But then like there was also like a mid-range band, meaning like in between phases, like Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
And
right. Rat.
These bands. But then of course
Skid Row.
Oh, I forgot about Skid Row. They had, late 80s, early 90s, they were big band. But then there's a band that's like they get thrown in the mix, which they shouldn't. Apart from one music video, they're nothing like an 80s band, and that's Guns N' Roses. They were apart. They were a separate entity.
Yeah, man, you cannot put GNR in there.
There's certain bands
got there first, so good.
There's certain bands that obviously are huge throughout any era that they don't subscribe to like what's hip or whatever, or in the now, and they're their own thing, and they're huge on their own. And Guns N' Roses was that band. Now they were more hair metal than Metallica, but they still weren't a glam metal band. They were not a hair metal band. Apart from the music video, they did Axl's hair up.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. That's what I was thinking. Thinking about that. It's like you know, like the teased up, ratted up hair and the makeup. I mean, that was the very essence of what it was to be part of those glam bands. You know, you think about like Poison on stage or Motley Crue on stage. I mean, I've seen videos of Bon Jovi. I mean, there's more hairspray there. It's like 3 cans of hairspray there, right? I mean, it's like, how is it? Needs more. But like, I mean, outside of like, honestly, the interior cover art for Appetite for Destruction, because the band looks pretty glammed out. And then I think it's maybe the Sweet Child of Mine video.
That's where he lost the hair and did his own thing. And
where I think in Sweet Child of Mine video, he's still pretty.
Well, he's got his bandana on then.
Does he? Okay,
I can't remember. I think it's just that one video.
Yeah,
Welcome to the Jungle, where that was just because the record company was probably like, "This is how you're going to look. This is the thing." But then they got so huge they could do what they wanted.
They wanted to do what they wanted. By the time you get around to like freaking Use Your Illusion, he's got the bandana, the hair's all straight and stringy and long. He's up on, they're just, it's like, that is not a hairband. Like it's
not, and the music is totally.
It's so much. Yeah, they sing about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but they sing about sex, drugs, and rock and roll in a very, very different way.
Very edgy and hardcore.
It's very edgy. It's very dark, and it's not that, hey, let's all go out and party. It's like it's a much darker look at what's going on. It's not. It's like less. The glam bands, there is a glamorization of the life, and
spandex.
So
Lots
much
of spandex.
So
These
much
freaking
spandex.
bands, man. Like, no wonder Nirvana crushed it.
Right? No wonder, like, Nirvana showed up in their flannel shirts and we're like, all right, this is how you're gonna do it now. Bah! And it's just like.
But like, so Def Leppard, huge band.
And I mean, here's the thing.
Pour some sugar on me.
Oh my gosh, pour some sugar on me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was okay. So so I was born in '75. So like, this is the music that was big when I was a teenager. Truly, this is the music of my teenage years. And I mean, sure, there were a couple of songs that I liked because my buddies were always listening to them. It's just like, I remember these songs, man. Like, man, Pour Some Sugar on Me. That thing was massive.
Yeah, Angela loves Def Leppard, so I have to listen to it when we were in the car at the time. And Hysteria.
Trying to think of the other. Oh my gosh,
they had a few. Rocket, Animal.
That's the other one.
High and Dry.
Rocket.
Like, they had all. I mean, they were the ultimate British hair band. And they competed with Motley Crue and Poison.
I guess if I had to pick one of them that I think is the most palatable, they are the one.
More than Motley Crue?
Yeah, dude.
Wild, like take a ride on the wild side. That's isn't that the song? Wild side. Anyway, or girls. Dr. Feelgood. That album is like a really good album.
Unskinny.
Yeah, Poison. I mean, they had I like Something to Believe in. That's actually a really good song as far as like lyrics go, even though it's a ballady.
Yeah.
And of course, Every Rose Has Its Thorn is like, that might encapsulate the actual era of ballads. You know what I mean?
I think it probably does. I mean, that is the ultimate glam hair ballad. There's nothing else even comes remotely close. It's like, name one hair ballad, and Stacy loathes hair metal. Like, she just can't stand it. But even she could sing the lyrics to that song.
I mean, it was huge.
It was massive.
It was huge. But like, so I'm trying to remember. I remember when my parents first let me watch MTV.
Yo, MTV Raps.
And all it was Warrant and Poison and Def Leppard and Motley Crue, and every once in a while a female artist would show up.
They brutalized the airwaves. I mean, that was it. I mean, they were everywhere.
And then they got into like hair metal light, like Nelson. Remember the After the Rain? These songs are just so meaningless. Most of them are just meaningless. You know what I mean? It was
after the rain washes away the tears, all the pain. Oh yeah, I remember those.
But like,
they had hair for days.
Yeah, they did.
Saigon Kick.
Oh, that was a band?
Yeah, for real, man. They had like one song that everybody knew. I don't even remember it now. That's how it's like Sugar, right? It's like Sugar. It's like okay, there it was. That was nice. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
No impression left on me.
Yeah, it was it dominated the airwaves and the
It
music
did.
videos, and like it was very hard to distinguish between all the B acts. Not that were not Miley Crew, Poison, and Def Leppard. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It was very, and it was like, what else I got? So like, what? So I gave you my reasons for how it came about, kind of like with the
Yeah,
foundation.
yeah.
What do you think? Like,
I think that's. I mean, I think that's what. I think that's. I think what you're thinking is probably right on the money. I mean, definitely the musical progenitors, if you will. Zeppelin is obviously the one you got to think of first and foremost, and Aerosmith, like you said, and then even Kiss, and I still think Queen a little bit because Queen was Queen. I only think Queen just because I mean Freddie was so glam, and I think what we see then with hair metal is like it's this progression of what they saw. They were like, oh my gosh, this is rock and roll, right? I mean, this is rock and roll. It's long hair and theatrics
oh yeah, like
and
every video you see, the guy has got his leg up, and he's got the guitar.
oh yeah, the
One of
guitar
them,
is an extension of something, and
right?
so I mean, it just is. I mean, I read an article that was talking about a different song, and I won't go into what song it was about because we're not talking about those things. We're talking about 80s music, and it said it's really hard to write a rock and roll love song, is what he said. He said, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying a song about sex because
Yeah,
there's lots of those.
yeah,
I mean a good rock song that's truly about that rocks. That's not a ballad. That's a rock
right,
song about love. He said it's
right,
really hard to do because it comes off sounding cheesy. He said,
right.
but there's plenty of songs about sex and having sex with girls or your guitar or sex with your guitar. I mean, but that's
Right.
what it's. That's what it's like. That. Anyway, back to that. Yeah, it's like this theatrics of the theatrics of the era and the theatrics of what they did on stage. Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
gosh, what they did on stage. I mean, it was so that's and then and it brings it to that. It's like they were trying to really embrace like the lifestyle. I feel like it's an extension of I feel like the genre of glam and hair is an extension of like what the fantasized perfect rock and roll lifestyle really
oh
is.
yeah, and like
It's
when you're up
girls,
there on
girls,
stage
girls.
and you're playing back to back with the other guitar.
Oh yeah, you got your back to your bro. You got
You got your
get your cigarette
front
hanging out of your
man.
mouth.
Yeah, in your
Front
front.
man, like he's got no instrument because he has no actual musical talent, but he can scream really good because they all had the screamy vocals, and that's also
Yeah.
why I think Axel gets lumped in is because of the vocals. Because Axel did use that kind of that.
Right, but
Was,
here's the difference though. If you had a lineup of just voices and you played Warrant and Slaughter and Winger and all that,
oh,
you couldn't tell me who they were. You play Axl Rose, you know who that
that's Axel
is.
Rose, right? No, that's exactly right. It's so distinctive.
Right.
Lead singer's there, he got his leg cocked up on the speaker. Drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels on. No, I don't even know if they did that. I was like, they're just like, oh man, it was a lifestyle, and that's what it was. And then the stage shows
Yeah.
became an extension of that. I was like, I showed one to Quinn the other day, and he was like,
Really?
okay, oh yeah, man. He was like, just in his face, man. It was like, I forget who it was. It might have. I think it was probably either Crew or Poison up on stage. So much spandex, so much hairspray.
Oh, we forgot all the makeup that they wore.
Oh, the makeup was full on, and then but then they had the backup girls, like the backup dancers, back behind them. I don't think they were actually doing anything other than dancing.
Yep. I mean,
He just kind of looked at it. It was just like,
it is weird though because like I said, a guilty pleasure. I really like Motley Crue. I think they were.
why?
Well, I'm trying to explain
Just
it.
curious. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You said you could explain it. I'm just curious why.
Well,
So
I think like Shout at the Devil is a really like I think that they were more of the hard rock. Of course, they were not immune to the influences of the era later in their career.
right.
I think Tommy Lee's an amazing drummer.
So
Like the
there's just
whole
more
like
stuff to them, is what you're
I think
saying.
there's more substance. I mean, like Nikki Sixx wrote most of the songs, and he was the bassist, and Mick Mars was like I just think they were like a perfect storm of
Of hair.
yes. Don't go away, Matt. Just go away.
But
I
you know
just
what?
like it's more of a hard rock than like I don't know, like instead of like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like it's just
No, I get you though. It's more the hard rock than the straight up glam
yeah.
of bands like Poison, you know. But here's the thing: they may not be as huge as they were, but these bands have lived on. You know.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that. So like in an interview I was listening to that Billy Corgan was giving, he was talking about, you know, Guns N' Roses and how like if you take out 2008 with their Chinese Democracy, which is just Axl and his band he filled in, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 were like the last Guns N' Roses album because their 93 Spaghetti Incident was just covers.
Yeah.
But they had brand power. They solidified their brand.
Yeah.
So much so that they never faded away. And they still drove album sales and didn't have anything new for like 17 years.
Right. Well, I mean, like, again, when we talk, you know, that billion views club on YouTube, November Rain has a 1.5 billion views on YouTube.
That's a love song, I think. That hard rock.
I would agree. I would agree. I think it is. It's tragic, but it is a love song, and it's a hard rock love song. It's not a ballad. It's not ballady. It's, you know, I mean, and they do have that glam persona if you think about it. I mean, gosh, in that video, Slash climbs up on the piano. It's like the most epic video ever. And you get double Slash solos in leather, no shirt. One of them he's in front of a church, and one of them standing on top of a cigarette. Piano. Yeah, I mean, they definitely had that.
And
but they weren't. So
they weren't glam, but yeah, they were very bluesy, hard rock roots. They were just all the guys in that band were amazing musicians.
Yeah, they were.
Slash is top 10 greatest guitarist of all time, probably.
Absolutely. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. Yeah. Dude, Slash is the boss.
Yeah. So I guess we're about out of time now, but
that's cool.
So like, I'm not like, if you like the 80s guys, more power to you. If you've listened to what you like.
Yep.
I just think there's more substance into the music Aaron and I like, more musicianship, whatever lyrics were way different in the bands that we like. But yeah,
ever so slightly.
I just think the funniest song is Cherry Pie.
Maybe next time we should like bring a list of just like of different songs and just like look at these songs, because man, there's some doozies.
Yeah. All right. Well, tune in later this week for the continuation of this conversation. I'll see you guys later.
More about it.